Chair Hausman is now going to, excuse me, present House File 1151, our Omnibus Finance Policy Bill.
And Mr. Chair, before I make those motions, I just want to say just a word. The room is filled with housing advocates. You early on received the Homes for All agenda. They were hoping for reflection in this bill, in the tax bill, in the bonding bill, in Health and Human Services. We're at the point in the session where our anxiety grows as we worry that that won't happen. You heard from two groups this morning about the urgency of this. I don't think I could have asked for more advocacy in this state. Hundreds of groups, thousands of people who've been part of this conversation. And so I'm still hoping for a miracle before the end of the session. But for now, I will move House File 1151.
Chair Hausman moves that House File 1151, and I believe the motion is to be referred to the Committee on Ways and Means.
And I will further move the delete everything, which...
Chair Hausman moves the DE3 amendment, which gets the bill in the shape you would like it.
And I will say this reflects what we tried in this bill is at least to keep all of the programs on the spreadsheet so that we can still be talking about them. Representative Gunther isn't here right now. He's in Representative Mahoney's committee. I'm particularly sorry about the amount for the challenge grants, which is a very flexible kind of program. He has always been the author of that. And I found out yesterday that the challenge program not only didn't get new money in the Senate, but it was cut. So we have our work cut out for us.
Chair Hausman, I just want to clarify, it's actually the DE1 amendment.
Okay. So I move the DE1.
Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? DE1 amendment is adopted.
And am I moving the A2 or are you?
I can move the A2 as it relates to legislation that I have in the. I'm going to move the A2 amendment, which adds some specific language related to the statewide tenant hotline. I'll move that amendment. Any discussion?
And that, Mr. Chair, was just an oversight. That little phrase didn't make it into the delete all, but that was our intention.
Representative Tice.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to express the same concerns I did before. I'm not sure that it's going to go directly to Homeline, but I do hope that we do have a bid, that it goes out to a bid process, and that we have other folks looking at it too, and maybe working together. So.
Thank you, Representative Tice. Any other discussion? All those in favor of the A2 say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? A2 is adopted. Representative Hausman.
And, Mr. Chair, I believe we will just have Mr. Savory walk through the spreadsheet.
Mr. Savory.
Thank you, Chair and committee members. I'll be working from the spreadsheet that was found in your packets. Just for a little organizational purposes, the right two-hand columns on the right-hand side that are titled DE Amendment obviously refer to the DE Amendment as it's constructed currently. The center two columns labeled Governor reflect the Governor's most recent budgetary request in March. And then the two columns on the left-hand side represent the base appropriations found in the most recent February forecast for 20 and 21, and then the planning years of 22 and 23. More generally, the spreadsheet is laid out into sections of operations for the Minnesota Housing Finance Agency. We'll go through each one. I'll list the changes to the programs, and then secondly, list any base programs that have stayed the same within the DE. So we'll get started. I'll refer to line numbers, and I'll be speaking directly from the DE amendment columns. Line 9 is a base increase for the challenge program. It's a $2 million increase in FY20 and a $2 million increase in FY21. That increase changes a little bit in the planning years, the tails. That increase goes from $2 million to $1.5 million each year in fiscal years 22 and 23. Line 10 is a one-time appropriation to the Local Housing Trust Fund Match Program. This is a new initiative that the governor brought forward. That is $7 million one time in fiscal year '20. In total, when you add in the change items, the challenge program receives $14.9 million per year within the DE for 20 and 21 in each year. And then that reduces slightly in fiscal years 22 and 23 to $14.4 million in each year. Additionally, the local housing trust fund match is a one-time appropriation on line 13, which you can find in the bill. And on line 14, the workforce housing development program is $2 million. It is unchanged from the base in 20 and 21. We'll jump down to line 17, which is the prevention and homelessness program category. We'll jump down further to line 25, which are the change items for that particular area. Line 25 is the rental assistance for mobile students, or the Homework Starts with Home program. There was one-time funding previously in a prior bill. That funding has since expired, but this new money is $3 million per year and establishes a base for the program in 20 and 21 and going forward into the tails. Line 26 is the rental assistance for the mentally ill, or also known as the Bridges program. This increases a previous base, so that is an increase of $1 million per year in 20 and 21, and then those $1 million increases continue into the tails. Line 27 is the increase to the family homeless prevention program. It is a $1 million increase each year on a permanent basis going forward. And so line 29 is just a reiteration of that, what the new totals are. The Housing Trust Fund remains unchanged at $11.6 million per year. The line 30 is the rental assistance for mobile students. The Homework Starts with Home program is the $3 million change in each year on line 30. Line 31 is the rental assistance to Bridges program. That shows the increase of a base of approximately $4 million. Now the new base, or the new appropriation, is $5 million. And line 32 is the family homeless prevention program. That shows the increase in the base of $1 million per year. It was $8.5 million and is now $9.5 million in 2021 and going forward. We'll skip down to line 37, which is the prevention section of the bill. Or sorry, preservation section of the bill. Line 44 represents a changed, or a establishment of the workforce home ownership program. Is it $1 million per year, and then the tails decrease slightly to $500,000 each year in 20 and 23. So line 46, you'll see that change item be brought into the current bill. Line 47 represents no change to the Affordable Rental Investment Fund. Line 48 represents no change to the housing rehabilitation, the owner-occupied program portion of that program, and then the same thing on line 49 for the rental housing portion of the housing rehabilitation program. Those are all at base. Line 53 represents the home ownership assistance fund. That remains the same in the bill as it has in prior years at $885,000 per year. We'll skip down to line 58, which is residential and organization support. And then we'll flip the page over. Line 65 represents a bill the committee heard regarding lead paint abatement. That is a new program now established at $1 million per year, and that appropriation decreases by half in the out years in 20 and 23, so it goes from $1 million to $500,000 in 20 and 23. Line 66 represents an increase to the capacity building grants. That increases $100,000 per year in 20, and then $100,000 in 20 and 21. Or 21, excuse me. Line 67 represents an increase to the home ownership capacity program. That increases $400,000 per year, and that goes into the tails as well. And so we'll skip down to line 69, which just shows that the lead paint abatement program is now in the bill and in the base at $1 million per year and $500,000 in the tails. Line 70 represents base funding for the home ownership education, counseling, and training program at $857,000 per year. Line 71 represents the increase to the capacity building grants, and line 72 is just an allowable amount out of that for the information IT system for homelessness. And then line 73 represents a grant to Build Wealth Minnesota, which is unchanged. And then line 74 is, as I mentioned before, is the home ownership capacity program, $400,000 per year.
So, Mr. Chair, our target was 26 million. 10 million of that was one-time money. That's what the spreadsheet reflects. And then the language of the bill is primarily just reflecting this. Ms. Dyson may want to comment. I think anything that you would like to call out.
Ms. Dyson.
Mr. Chair and members of the committee, they're really the only two things I wanted to flag in terms of new language. The local housing trust fund grants on page 2 of the delete all amendment. This is a new program, and it goes to the local housing trust funds. And it spells out how the amounts available for grantees and how the money can be spent. And that was presented in this committee by Representative Howard and was also in the original bill, House File 1151, and the governor's bill. The other provision is in Article 2 at the end of the delete all amendment on page 8, and that's the statutory program established for the Lead Safe Home Grant Program that Representative Fisher presented to the committee. And that establishes the grant program for lead testing and in rental housing, and then making them, doing some abatement work. So those are the two programs that had new language that I wanted to highlight.
So, Mr. Chair, we have some testifiers. The first two are down for both bills, and I think may choose just to comment on the second one. So, Mr. McDonough and Mr. Cervantes will be testifying on the informational hearing we're having today.
It looks like up first for the public testifiers of Libby Murphy with Homes for All Policy Co-Chair and the Minnesota Housing Partnership.
Hi, good morning, Chair, members. Thank you for this opportunity to testify. I just want to thank the committee and these are new investments in the continuum of housing, from rental assistance to production, and to encourage local solutions and innovations through the local housing trust funds. This really represents an investment in the continuum of housing, which the Homes for All Coalition advocates for every day. And so we appreciate that. But I will say it's not enough. We heard from the two presentations today just how dramatic our housing needs are. We are in a housing crisis, and these investments do not reflect the need across the state. If we are to address the deficit in the number of units available and affordable to our most vulnerable households, we need more resources for new production and preservation. And we need more resources for rental assistance so that more than 1 in 4 households who are eligible can actually receive the assistance that they need. And we cannot address our disparities if we continue to underinvest in housing. So I urge the committee members to advocate for a larger target. And if that is an impossible task, then to find and advocate for investments through the bonding bill and the tax committee. Again, thank you. And again, this does represent new investments across the continuum, and we are grateful for that and grateful for the opportunity to have had the ability to testify on these various bills before.
Thank you. Next up, I have Charlie Vanderarty, the Association of Metropolitan Municipalities.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Charlie Vanderarty for Metro Cities, which represents the collective interests of cities across the 7-county metropolitan area. As you've heard this session, housing that's affordable for Minnesotans is a priority for Minnesota cities. With the region forecast to add over 700,000 new residents by 2040, cities are surveying their current housing stock and planning for future housing needs. Those needs will need to be met by preserving existing homes and building new homes. This finance bill commits resources to both needs. Funding increases to the Challenge program recognize state support to meet a range of locally identified needs, both single-family and multifamily, both owner-occupied and rental. Thanks to Representative Gunther for carrying that bill. The Workforce Homeownership Program also supports homeownership for working families. We appreciate the city eligibility and funding. The finance bill also helps communities which have committed to raising funds locally amplify state funding via a state match. Thanks to Representative Howard for carrying that bill. As our metro region grows and as the state grows, state support will continue to be even more critical, for cities. We look forward to working with the committee, and thank you for your support.
Thank you. Next up, Michael Dahl from Homeline.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, first of all, I want to state my support for the Homes for All Coalition and to the work of this committee for taking a very comprehensive approach to what is a very complex problem that our state is facing. I appreciate that you funded everything from family homeless prevention to helping renters with extremely low-income households, and also people getting into home ownership opportunities. Taking a comprehensive approach is absolutely necessary. I wanted to testify specifically, though, about the bill that Representative Howard carried and Representative Hausman put in the bill for the capacity building grant program, with its support for free legal confidential advice to Minnesota tenants. Homeline provides this service, and during this last quarter, we saw a 7% increase in the number of people contacting our program. There are more people who need help getting repairs, more people who need help negotiating with their landlords, more help for people who are seeing rent increases, and so we're very happy that you've included this. I'm sad to report that in the Senate, they actually took 4 programs that dealt with capacity building and counseling and put them together into one bill and focused most of those needs on home ownership counseling. And so we do not have the support that we need for rental advice or legal advice for renters that is specifically called out in the Senate bill. Thank you for your time, and thank you for what the work this committee has done.
Thank you. Next, we have Dan Kitzberger from Minnesota Housing.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. Dan Kitzberger, I'm the legislative director with Minnesota Housing. Both the commissioner and Assistant Commissioner Baumtrag are unable to be here, so I'm pinch hitting on their behalf. I just want to start out by saying how much we appreciate the work of the committee over the past few months. As you've all come to know, housing truly impacts everyone, everywhere in the state. And while the needs may differ depending upon where you are or be specific to a region, we're very glad for this committee's interest and energy dedicated to addressing the needs of the housing needs of Minnesotans everywhere. So I wanted to start out by thanking you for including the governor's full recommendation for Homework Starts with Home. This is a proven program, and funding it in the base will allow resources to reach more areas of the state and stabilize more families with children in school. We're also glad to see that there's some overlap in areas with the governor has prioritized, such as in Challenge, Family Homeless Prevention and Assistance Program, Bridges, the Local Housing Trust Fund, and home ownership capacity. We're looking forward to working with you, Madam Chair, and members of the committee in the coming weeks of session to create a budget that helps meet the needs of more people throughout the state. So thank you again very much.
Thank you. Next up, we have Sean McCallatan with North Country Cooperative Foundation.
Mr. Chair, members of the committee, thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak this morning. I think you heard a lot about data about housing. I think the first 2 speakers this morning gave the committee members ample tools to make the policy decisions that you need. I want to talk a little bit about the people I represent, people who live in manufactured home communities. Most of the people that I represent can't afford most of the housing that's supported by members of this committee. So housing affordable to people at 60% of area median income, 50% of area median income is beyond the reach of most of the people that I represent. Who are these people? They're the people who empty the waste baskets, sweep the floors, vacuum the carpets in this building and in the Capitol. They're the truck driver who drops off Twinkies and Doritos at the convenience store where we buy them. They're the clerks who ring up our purchases there. They're the personal care attendants at the local nursing home. They're the roofer who's manning the nail gun to replace a roof down the street. And they're the people, like the residents of Sungold Heights Manufactured Home Community in Worthington, Minnesota. And if I could have a page, pass out this handout. This is a community, these are residents we've been working with for the last 6 months to buy the community that they live in. They have very low rents. We found out 2 weeks ago when our engineers came back with a study that the infrastructure serving that community is beyond repair. It'll cost about $900,000 to replace that infrastructure system, about half the cost of the community. We're working hard with Minnesota Housing Finance Agency now to try to come up with some money to preserve that community, but there's no pot of money for that type of affordable housing. So we were backing a couple of bills this session, House File 1830, Senate File 1871, which would have put some money into the Manufactured Housing Infrastructure Fund. That's not in the current bill. We also backed Representative Sauk's bill, House File 896, Senate File 469, that would have given manufactured home communities access to several pots of money available to other housing providers. That's a bill that was drafted by a bipartisan, bicameral group of 20 to 30 legislators who support manufactured housing. 4 components to that bill. One that would give manufactured homeowners the right to petition cities to issue bonds for failing infrastructure. That's in the current bill. The other would expand access to the Manufactured Housing Infrastructure Bill fund, which again is unfunded in the current bill. And that's the expanded access is in, no money. 2 provisions, access to challenge funds and housing improvement bonds are not in the current bill. So I would ask the committee members, I thank you for the support that you've already given for manufactured housing, and I'd ask for continued support for manufactured housing. I'm happy to take any questions.
And before you go, could you state your name?
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair. Sean McElhatton. I'm the Chief Development Counsel for North Country Cooperative Foundation.
Thank you. Representative Pearson.
And Mr. Chair, I agree with everything he has said, and I know there are members of this committee who are going to work hard in the interim to continue to meet that challenge, because we've been reminded over and over this is affordable housing desperately needed. The good news at this moment, just as we tried to move as many items forward, my understanding is that this is funded in the Senate bill, and so we do have another opportunity in conference committee should we miraculously get just a little more money assigned to us. So I saw that as good news.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Representative Pearson.
Mr. Chair, thank you. Just to clarify that just a little bit further, within this actual bill, though, there manufactured homes, I understand, actually fit in kind of the in-between where, because the lots are rented, they don't qualify for home ownership type of programs, and because the improvement or the house that's on the lot is on a rented lot, they also don't qualify for the rental assistance. Is there anything that is in this bill that addresses or enhances and improves this this one?
There is funding for the WHOM program, the Workforce Home Ownership Minnesota program, and those are funds that we would have access to.
Okay.
With other housing providers. And, yeah.
Thank you, and Mr. Chair. Just again, looking at the affordability when we talk about some of these other programs, this sheet that talks about lot rents being at $330, and then going up to $360 if this co-op took ownership, I understand, of the entire park. What would you say with the addition of the improvement that is on the rented lot? What would you say like the average investment for one of these types of units would be in southwestern Minnesota?
So typically, I mean, the lot rents are pretty typical in Worthington, 300 to 350. You know, there's quite a range, but that's pretty typical. Typical manufactured home purchase is under $10,000, and usually it's not financed. You buy it from your brother-in-law or somebody who knows a neighbor, and you maybe put $1,000 down and make a couple $100 a month payment. So again, your all-in payment would typically be $500-600 a month, and again, once that's paid off by you're paying the price of the home, then your rent is $300 a month.
So again, I just looking at the numbers and again how we try to subsidize. I mean that amount per month just for the lot rent is typically lower than what we pay to subsidize rent in a lot of other locations. So again, the preservation of this again strikes me as something that should be a priority, and the opportunity is there to provide a great living environment for people. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right, our next testifier is Sue Watla Phillips with MICA.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and committee members, and Sue Watlow Phillips. I'm the Executive Director of MICA, the Metropolitan Interfaith Council on Affordable Housing, and Vice President of the National Coalition for the Homeless. I want to thank Representative Hausman and all of you for the great work that you have done around this bill for Homes for All, and really pulling together a coalition of very diverse interests in developing a continuum of housing resources from prevention all the way through home ownership. And I think this is a critical way to work together. A couple comments I'd like to just make on some of the previous testimony that you've heard today, and just a little bit of expansion. As Ann Mavity talked about from Minnesota Housing Partnership, you know, we have the growing number of people that are in a housing crisis right now and that are at risk of being homeless. To put real numbers to that, that means we need to expend $1 billion here in the metro area and $1 billion in greater Minnesota every year to address that issue. We know how to spend money on housing and do it very well for those of us that are homeowners. And I bought the house that I grew up in. And so we have the mortgage interest deduction that goes up to $750,000 with the change in the federal tax law. We also have your property taxes as well as capital gains. So we really need to be putting both budgets as well as the bonding budgets on the table as we are really looking at how are we going to address the housing crisis that we're in this state as well as in the country. So we need to look at tax expenditures, appropriations, and bonding together as we're really coming up with our solutions, and encourage as we continue to move ahead to do that. In addition to that, just wanted to add that as Mr. Owen was talking about the people that are new to the state that are experiencing homelessness, IRS indicates that 20 to 25% of the American population moves every year trying to get employment. So it's not an unusual situation that a part of that population would also find themselves at risk or experiencing homelessness also. Just want to echo what Sean said just a few minutes ago. Our manufactured homes are our most affordable housing. It's home ownership. We need to preserve this. We need to find the resources to do that, and strongly encourage you to do that. Thank you so much for all your service, and look forward to continuing to work with you.
Thank you. Representative Hausman.
Mr. Chair and members, I will say the faith community has stepped up big time on this particular crisis that we're facing, and have been here consistently providing a message for us.
Next up, Daniel Lightfoot with League of Minnesota Cities.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the committee, and I will try to be brief as I know we have another informational hearing on a bill that we have to get to. But Daniel Lightfoot with the League of Minnesota Cities here on behalf of our 833 member cities in the state of Minnesota. And I'd like to thank Chair Hausman and members of the committee for the leadership on this issue and continuing to work on solutions that seek to address the affordable housing issues that cities across the state of Minnesota are facing. And I'm pleased to note that a lot of that committed work is apparent in this bill before the committee today. Cities across the state continue to be concerned about the need for proactive commitment at the state level to aid city efforts to meet demand for affordable housing that is sensitive to local conditions, emerging trends, and changing demographics. The lack of affordable housing is reverberating across the state, with over a quarter of Minnesota families spending more than 30% of their household income on housing. With vacancy rates remaining low and the market struggling to keep up with the demand for new construction of new affordable housing options, and communities struggling to maintain existing naturally occurring affordable housing. Cities understand their important role in building and maintaining the proper tools and flexibility to meet the housing needs of their residents. To that end, cities have implemented solutions at the local level, such as inclusionary zoning, tax abatement, TIF for housing, increased density, and local housing trust funds. However, increasing sustainable resources dedicated to affordable housing, along with developing additional tools that provide flexibility for cities to create partnerships and leverage resources, will be necessary if we are to effectively address the affordable housing crisis. The resources outlined in House File 1151 are an excellent start in providing the capital needed to support the affordable housing priorities. I'd like to briefly highlight a couple of the provisions in the bill that will be crucial resources for cities in addressing their locally identified housing needs. First, the increase in base funding of $4 million this biennium and $3 million next biennium for the Challenge Fund grant program will be crucial for communities to leverage local public and private resources to develop workforce rental and single-family homes. The sustained investment in the Workforce Housing Grant Program, as well outlined in Article 1, Section 2 of the bill, will continue to provide much-needed resources to spur development of workforce housing, particularly in Greater Minnesota. I want to extend my appreciation to Representative Gunther for his leadership on the Challenge Program, carrying that bill and really shepherding that program, the Challenge Fund program, since the program's inception. We also appreciate the funding in the bill for the Workforce Home Ownership Program and the inclusion of city eligibility for the program as well to create additional workforce housing opportunities. Lastly, the Local Housing Trust Fund state match. This is an important tool for cities to dedicate local public resources to address locally identified housing needs. Several cities in Minnesota have already established local housing trust funds, but the state match funding carried by Representative Howard will help jumpstart local investment and spur the creation of more local housing trust funds across the state. And to conclude, I'd like to note that while the League is pleased with the funding priorities laid out in the bill, we also recognize that the scope of the affordable housing crisis is such that additional resources should be considered outside of general appropriations, as we've heard this morning. This includes resources in the tax bill for the Tax Credit Contribution Fund, as well as bonding resources via housing infrastructure bonds and general obligation bond resources. We encourage members of this committee and your colleagues in this body to seriously consider those proposals as conversations continue on how to put our best foot forward in addressing this crisis. Thank you for the opportunity to testify today.
Thank you. And are there any other members of the public that would like to testify?
We don't have much time.
Super quick. Not even bringing up remarks. Hello, thank you. My name is Dominic McQuarrie, Public Policy Manager at the Amherst H. Wilder Foundation. Just quickly wanted to thank the chair and committee for the appropriations in this bill that are going towards affordable housing, and speaking specifically about the Homework Starts with Home program. We all know the importance of a stable place and a stable home to grow and thrive, not just academically, but socially and emotionally as well. So thank you to the many members of the committee that are on that bill and for their support. I think that, what was shown in the Wilder Research Report around children's and families and what we've seen in some of the work around veterans is that when we focus on a population, we can make gains in the issues around homelessness. So I thank the committee for choosing to take part in a housing-focused committee this session, because if we continue to move forward, we can really make strides on this issue.
Thank you. Are there members that would have any questions or comments? Representative Johnson.
Chair Howard, Chair Hausman, I want to thank you for this bill. It's got a lot of good stuff in it. There might be something I don't always agree with in this bill, but what I don't agree with is what's missing. One of the things that's missing in this bill is things to help reduce rules and regulations to keep the cost of housing down. That's missing. We heard testimony how just being across a imaginary line can be a 50% reduction in the cost of building a home. And that's because of rules and regulations. One of the fastest growing communities or counties in our area is across the river in St. Croix County, Wisconsin. And there's a huge difference in the cost of building a home from this side of the river to the other side of that river. And we need to work on those issues, but that's not addressed in this bill. Also, Minnesota Housing Finance. This bill has $131 million in it, over $131 million. But by our state budget, that's not a lot of money, but to me, that is a lot of money. We have no idea where that money goes once it leaves here, because it's all in grants. And we don't get a report where it goes. Now, I have 2 projects dealing with MHFA literally on the edge, each edge, east and west edge of my district. One in the city of North Branch, one in the city of Princeton. They were allocated and awarded the grants in 2017. It's 2019 now, and they're still fighting to get their funding. Projects are putting on hold and have possibility of being completely over and done and not even getting started because of holding up of the funding to get these projects started, and the costs are going up. Get to the point now where they might not be able to afford the projects because the costs have gone up that high. There's also, I believe, a couple projects I was told about this morning on a half-hour phone conversation dealing with this. There's 2 projects in St. Cloud that are also dealing with the same issues. So that has a lot of concern for me because we're allocating funding, giving out the grants. The money's not being allocated. Where's the money going? Is it getting pigeonholed somewhere? We don't know. So I guess what I would like to ask the chair to think about doing, either as an amendment or a requirement for next session, is have MHFA prepare a report for us, going back 5 years, to have for us when the session starts next year, the number of grants that were allocated, not just the number, but where the grants were allocated, so we can look at, is this funding going to the proper places? And what parts of states it's going to. The percent of the funds allocated to the projects that was granted, and if the funds weren't allocated, why not? That's information we need to know so we can actually work harder in getting things done right, but also finding out if these projects are actually working to reduce the health, or reduce housing costs, reduce homelessness. But without those reports, we don't know if what we're doing is proper. So I hope you consider doing that.
Chair Hausman, any comments?
Well, I'm assuming that Mr. Kitzberger will connect with you about the particular where the grants have already been made, but the funding hasn't arrived. So hopefully after the meeting, he's able to connect with you. And I think that reporting about what actually is done is good advice.
Representative Tice.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And Chair Hausman, thank you for bringing the bill forward. Housing, of course, is very dear to my heart. And I know a lot of the struggles that are happening, and I'm active in our community as well, not only with the Central Minnesota Mental Health Center, but also with different homeless groups. And I also work a lot with McKinley High School, which has a lot of students that are homeless. And I was so pleased, and I can't say it enough, that Commissioner Hogue actually went to McKinley and met with some of the students, and that's very encouraging. So we can figure out some of the programs and things that maybe we need to put in place, or even just educating the teens themselves about what is available to them. I think a lot of times they don't think they're homeless because they're couch surfing, and we need to do a better job of probably educating on what that is. But that being said, we have a lot of work to do yet, and I know you know that. the governor's task force on housing, the first 3 recommendations are commit to homes as a priority, preserve the homes we have, and then build more homes. And again, I can't say it enough, we need to look at the codes, the fees, the mandates, and really figure out what can we do and what can we ask our communities to do as well. I know the counties and the cities aren't going to like it, but I think that if we're going to look at home, having the homes for the folks that we have, and workforce housing especially, we need to look at those mandates and stuff. When we look at the chart that was just presented today, and we're looking at, we're worse than our neighboring states. And why is that? We need to figure out why are we worse than our neighboring states. And that has to do a lot with the costs and having those conversations. And I know we can't have everything in the bill, but it really is frustrating that we don't have manufactured homes in here, because that could help a lot with our aging population as well. I think that has the potential to really have some really cool communities. You go down south, and it's parks upon parks upon parks, and they do it all the time. And I think it's something we really need to look at. And I've had several folks that have said, hey, you're in building and remodeling. Why are you talking about manufactured homes? But quite frankly, we can't build them affordable. And so this is another great way to say this is an option that we can do and also have a nice community that will address the needs of the folks, whether it just be folks that need affordable housing or aging. I'm really concerned about aging. It would be nice to see that. I just really have concerns with the amendment that we put on because of Homeline. I don't think there's a lot of groups that have lobbyists and they advocate here at the legislature that gets funding for projects. And I really hope that that goes out to bid. I think it really needs to. I'm concerned about the message it sends. So just can't say it enough. That one really bugs me. But I do appreciate being on this committee and working with this. Like I said, it's my heart. Did it for 30-some years. And I really can't push enough, too, when we talk about, preserving our homes, that we really do probably educate folks on what that means. We, at one time, had 13 homes, and each one had some type of upgrades to it, depending on how old the home was and what was there. And I would say most of the time we put in between $3,000 and $70,000 and had a really nice home. And a lot of times we're looking at new appliances, and we can't always do the woodwork and things like that, which lead to the lead issues. But there is a lot you can do, and there's a lot of resources you can find to help redo the homes so that they are acceptable for families to live in. So again, I thank you very much. It's been very nice to be on the committee, and I look forward to probably doing a lot of work this summer so that we can figure out why our costs are so expensive, and probably just start with that. And where do we start with looking at the codes, the mandates, the fees, that type of thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative Tice. And I know we're short on time. Just a brief comment of mine on the bill. I want to thank Chair Hausman for your leadership in bringing forward a bill that I think really does have a strategic use of our resources on the continuum of housing. I want to thank the community members and advocacy organizations that have helped us kind of put a spotlight on this crisis. I too want to kind of join what we've heard from some testifiers and members, though, that I think we've done a good job this session and continuing to raise the profile and put a spotlight on the need for housing. The resources we have before us today in this committee, really frankly doesn't come close to meeting that undisputable, undeniable need. I really think we're in a fight for the stability, economic security, and safety of hundreds of thousands of Minnesotans and communities, and frankly, we're losing that fight. And even with the resources in this bill, I'm not convinced we're not still going to be going backwards. And so I just want to underscore again how vital it is that we not only pass this bill, but make investments in our tax bill. Representative Tapke has an excellent tax credit proposal in particular, and that we advocate vigorously on behalf of all of our constituents to have a robust bonding bill that invests in housing as well. so vital to the overall effort to continue to meet this crisis. Representative Hausman. Oh, Representative Sock.
Thank you. I was prepared to not say anything. I have to tell you that as I've sat here, you all know where my advocacy was because I saw it as a sweet spot in the purview of this. And I think that a number of people have said some very important and wise things. But when we as a committee have completely walked past the opportunity, if you look at building an apartment house, building all kinds of subsidized houses, building projects around, and we're subsidizing those things, and we walked past the opportunity to invest at about $100,000 per family for the possibility to actually own that and then move on in life from that position of ownership. I think we are being driven oftentimes by our legacy bias. I grew up in that bias, so I know it very well, and it steeped in my head right now, and I feel very disappointed that that's what has happened in this project. I couldn't end without saying that, so I'm sorry for the emotion in that, but I think we have missed it completely by walking past what are the least expensive ways to help people have housing.
Representative Hausman.
Mr. Chair, I think your comments summed it up perfectly. I couldn't have said it better. And if you're ready, I will renew my motion that 1151 be moved as amended to Ways and Means.
Representative Hausman renews her motion. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? The motion carries and moves on to Ways and Means.